Hello, beautiful soul family. Rebecca here, your vibe mentor. I am doing a quick off the cuff video for you. It is a busy week. I am overbooked and didn't plan on showing up for today because I just needed the time and space. And yet I have this desire to be here for you and honor my commitments to 3 times a week. We'll see if that still holds in the future. It's looking like I may need to reduce to twice a week. But for today, since I'm not going to spend hours creating this script for you, I just wanted to pop in and share with you a story about emotional hangover. And I had an experience lately that brought this topic back to mind and thought you could benefit from it as well. So I went for a run the other day, and I have been, as you know, if you watch the energy readings on Mondays, we have been talking a lot about self-leadership and honoring the body, strengthening the body, getting stronger, recommitment to things that we know raise our vibration and increase our strength. And so part of that for me has been adding back in cardio workouts, not just doing my weights lifting. And so for many years when I lived in Chicago, I used to run the half marathon every year, multiple 5Ks and 3Ks. And even eventually did a marathon, which was pretty much the end of my running career because my joints don't like October running. And that just happens to be when the marathon was. It just about killed my knees, but I still enjoy running. I still love running, just not to the extent that I did. So because I also love weightlifting, and just a little plug for Body Pump, anybody who's interested, it's fun weights choreographed to music, and you will cover every single muscle group in the body in less than an hour or an hour or less. And it's amazing, but you can't only do weights. You need cardio and these other things too. So I was feeling called to get back into running. And also it was daylight savings this week. And because we have lots of things to do during the day, lots of clients to meet with and commitments to keep, the time that I could run was in the evening, which went from being light out to being dark in one day. And so I was going to go no matter what. I made a commitment. We are disciplined. We are honoring our commitments. We are going. What I didn't realize is in the 20 some odd years of running that I have been doing this, I don't run at night very often. And I think the last time I did run at night was probably at least 10 years ago. So there's some things you need to be aware of and to recall. It's just like driving in the first snow. There's things to look out for, and you can train your brain to look out for them. But I have not been in the habit of running, let alone running at night. So sidewalks are uneven. We'll put it that way. Yes, about 10 minutes in, maybe not even quite, I stumbled. I felt my toe catch the edge of that uneven sidewalk. I could have swore it was 2 inches taller than the other. Maybe not quite that much, but it sure felt like it. And everything happened in slow motion. The beauty of trauma healing and becoming the observer and creating space between thoughts and reactions really came into play, which what a fascinating experience to be able to see all of these skills that I've been working on really come into play in real time, split second motions. I felt the toe catch the edge of the sidewalk. And there was one stumble and another stumble and just trying to catch this fall. And by the third, I knew I wasn't going to be able to prevent it from happening. And it's amazing if you're walking down the street and you watch somebody fall, boom, they fall, right? But there's time to feel the toe on the edge. There's time to notice one stumble, two stumble, three stumbles, and the thought process of, should I keep trying? Try one more time. You're not going to be able to save it, right? And then the awareness of, okay, we need to brace, right? And all of this was happening almost consciously, very fast and somewhat subconscious, but also somewhat conscious as well. And the brace and the feeling of my hands hitting the sidewalk, and the knowing of, if I keep bracing, I'm getting scratched. But as you can see, there's not a scratch on my palms. And in that moment of, oh, we can't keep bracing, you have to roll, and just softening into, and this is very much the trauma healing, is that because we experience pain, we will brace, we will try to control, we'll try to, in our hypervigilance, prevent things from happening. And yet pain plus resistance equals suffering. And so there was a knowing in my mind that I just had to soften into the fall. Didn't really think of roll, but I just knew soften. And so that took the pressure off of my palms. I have a little bit of a scratch here, and then some on my shoulder because I was wearing a tank top. But beyond that, there's not much. My pinky's sore. I'm waiting for the pinky nail to get bruised, but so far that's pretty good too. And it was very fascinating to see how all of this happened in real time. And apparently 2 people stopped, so it must have looked pretty hairy. The guy that came across the street, he said that was a pretty epic fall. I suspect he might have been in the medical arena because he was suggesting things like aspirin and elevation and things of that nature. The woman who stopped in her minivan insisted on giving me a ride home, to which I politely declined. I was really wanting to get this run in. So I continued the run. And this is the emotional hangover part, right? I knew everything that was going to come from there. That counts as somewhat of a traumatic experience. It doesn't have to qualify as, witnessing a murder or, some of the more terrible things that trauma is qualified as. Something like this is an intense or serious or traumatic situation that causes that trauma response in the body. So I knew what was coming next. I knew I wasn't feeling things because of the adrenaline. I was going to use that adrenaline to finish the run. And then the emotions came as I was running, big emotions around, I almost hit my face. I very much could have, not that my phone's important, but it was, in a pouch on my front. I could have killed a $400 phone. Silly little things, right? It's more about the emotion processing than it is really the phone or any of that. And just going through the adrenaline, going through the big emotions, recognizing that I need support. I wanted to feel like someone was there to help me lick my wounds, and going back home and, talking to my family, and my kids were just fawning over me. And that was so helpful. And just feeling cared for was important. And, I elevated it. I put ice on it. I did not take aspirin because I don't put synthetic things in my body, but that's beside the point. From there, going to sleep, knowing it was sore, I expected to be more sore in the morning. I woke up not hardly sore at all, but very much frustrated and irritated and extremely tired, as if I didn't sleep at all. And so you can have emotional hangovers from just plain old intense situations, certainly from traumatic events, but even highly engaging social events or things that are very taxing for you. And then the next day or shortly after, you might feel like, why am I feeling this way? Why am I irritable? Why am I sad? Why am I feeling strange fear? Why am I feeling anger? Why am I having intrusive thoughts? Why am I replaying this experience that I just went through? Hypervigilance can creep in, where you all of a sudden feel like you need to rush around and hurry up and do these things. You might, again, sleep disturbances. I didn't sleep very well. I woke up multiple times for no reason. I don't usually wake up for no reason. I wake up easily to sounds, people coming in and out or whatever, but just not being able to sleep disturbance is also part of an emotional hangover. Avoiding the area, the situation, things that are similar to the location. Anytime I drive by there, I now have that kind of that brace feeling in my body. You can even have symptoms like headaches or digestive issues or muscle tension. You can even have constipation or other digestive issues because our fight or flight mechanism is very disruptive to our digestive system, which I need to do more videos on because the microbiome and all of that gets disrupted when we live in that constant state of unhealed wounds and trauma, but that's a video for another day. So don't feel like you've taken a step back. If you have experienced something difficult, challenging, high intensity, serious, or traumatic, and you feel like you've taken a step back, don't worry. It is normal for it to take a couple days or even a couple weeks, depending on the severity of your situation, to regain your footing or to feel like you're back to your normal self. And it is not uncommon to feel like all of this trauma work I've done, I've failed, I've fallen backwards, I've stumbled, I've not done a good job, or I've not made as much progress as I thought I did. Don't let that creep in. Those thoughts are lying to you. They are not true. And you will move through this emotional hangover more quickly if you have already done the somatic healing work with your trauma. If you haven't done somatic healing work with your trauma, you're dealing with likely a trigger that is so subconscious and so specific to each person. It's difficult for me to say exactly what it is, but your flavor of trauma will somehow be related to this experience that's brought up a big emotional response, which will create the emotional hangover. So my key takeaway is don't feel bad. Know that it's not just you. You're not alone in this. If you have any unhealed trauma, let me know. Happy to help. That's what I'm here for. That's why I'm on planet Earth. Otherwise, just give yourself some grace as you go through the emotional hangover, and make sure you like, subscribe, and share if you know anybody who could benefit. Talk to you soon. Love you, my friends. Bye.